sampling risk. There are two types of error possible: type 1 error and type 2 error. What is type 1 error? Let me first explain the error with the manufacturing context, then we can connect it to the what you call the hypothesis testing. Imagine you produced a good product. Your quality inspectors are rejecting the good product. Now who is now under trouble? The manufacturer or the customer? Product is good, but quality inspectors are rejecting it.
Manufacturer.
That is called manufacturer's risk, and that type of error is called type 1 error. Your quality checkers have selected a sample and concluded that entire lot is bad. Entire lot of products you produced in a particular batch is scrapped because of the sample study. But the reality is all else are good, only the samples are bad. So sample can give you a false alarm. That is called the manufacturer risk, and that is otherwise called as type 1 error. This is what we need to fix while conducting any study. We cannot avoid, but we must limit it to 5%. Limiting the type 1 error to 5%. This requirement is called the level of significance. When I say level of significance, it means you must limit the amount of type 1 error to 5%. Clear? Right. And then other thing can happen. Your quality checkers can pass the lot, but product can be worst. Because they did a sample and sample demonstrated something and then they passed the lot. But lot of customer complaints are coming to your factory. Now who is now put under trouble? Consumers. Your customer is now suffering. So that is called a consumer risk. Always when you take decision based on the sample, these two risks will come into play. This is called a type 2 error or consumer risk. The type 1 error, the fixed value is alpha, level of significance. And type 2 error also, the ceiling is beta. Type 2 ceiling is beta. Generally, alpha and beta are fixed at 5%. Right? Both type 1 error should be 5% and type 2 error should also be 5%. Generally, but of course you can change it. You can declare in your report saying that level of significance is 5%, saying that level of significance is 10%. When you declare level of significance as 5%, it indirectly means your confidence level in the conclusion is 95%. When you declare level of significance as 1%, what is the confidence level?
99.
When you declare level of significance as 10%, confidence level is 90%. When your confidence level is going down, what will happen to your confidence interval? So confidence interval, yes, there is a relationship actually between your confidence level and confidence interval. Generally, when you increase your confidence level, your confidence interval will get widened. But our main job, our responsibility is to see to that we get the higher confidence level at the same time maintaining the the narrower confidence interval. And that is why we must, we always look at the variation in the data. Right. So type 1 error is understood, type 2 error is understood. If type 1 error is 5%, then remaining is confidence level 95%. If this is alpha, this is 1 minus alpha. Similarly, if type 2 error is understood, power of test can be understood. What is type 2 error? Beta. So power of test is 1 minus beta. Now what is power of test? The ability to correctly reject a bad product, that is called the power of test. Your quality checker correctly reject the bad product. There are 100 units you are asking them to check, out of which let us say some units are bad. Let's say 10 units are bad, and let's say 100 units are bad. 100 units are bad. Out of the 100 units, 95 units they will reject correctly, but 5 units they will allow them to escape. Why? Because the beta is 5%. Right? So what is the power of test? Power of test is nothing but your ability to correctly reject the bad ones. This is what is alpha, what is beta, what is confidence level, and what is power of test with respect to a manufacturing context. Coming to the hypothesis testing. What is hypothesis testing? Validating a null hypothesis. So your x-axis is null hypothesis. Null hypothesis is true, but your your study is rejecting it. Now the error what you are committing is type 1 error. Clear? The error what you are committing is type 1 error. Null hypothesis is true and you don't reject. Actually, we should never use the word accept. We should use do not reject. Null hypothesis is true and I don't reject. That is my confidence level. Your confidence level talks about the rejection of null hypothesis, right? None. Then your null hypothesis is false. You are correctly rejecting it. That is called the power of your hypothesis testing. Your null hypothesis is false, but still you accept it. That is called type 2 error. Hope it is clear to all of you, right? Sometimes type 1 error is called false positive and type 2 error is called false negative. These are used in pharma and healthcare segment, right? So manufacturing, they call it manufacturer's risk and consumer risk. And in pharma and healthcare, they call it false positive and false negative. But in general, they are called type 1 error and type 2 error. And they are denoted by the symbol alpha and beta. And ultimately, your decision about whether the alarm is false alarm or true alarm depends on N. What is N? Sample size. 1 minus alpha. What is 1 minus alpha? Confidence level. 1 minus beta, which is power of the test. And then the statistics you want to validate. The difference in statistics you want to validate. My fat content, the mean fat content is 15.8, but the requirement is 15. What is the difference in the statistics? 0.8. So lower the difference, higher will be the sample size required. Higher the difference, lower will be the sample size required. So always the decision of any hypothesis testing is a function of all these things, and you should be able to play effectively. So I think we have, see here, a difference in the mean 1.6. Fat content required is 15, but observed is 16.6. So difference is how much? 1.6. Now, is this 1.6 a significant difference or not? At 95% confidence level, I go for a different sample size. When I go for a different sample size, it will affect my power of test. When my sample size keeps increasing, my ability, my power of test also keeps increasing. So that's why these are all interconnected. So you need to understand what happens to your important factors when you actually play with these things. Right. So confidence level is correctly accepting a true null hypothesis, and power of test is correctly rejecting a false null hypothesis. Level of significance is permissible risk of type 1. So what is p-value? P-value estimates. P-value calculates the risk of type 1 error you may commit while rejecting a null hypothesis. This is why you are always, keen on keeping, getting a p-value of less than 5% while rejecting a null.
So one small question: if risk tolerance is very low and sample size will be high?
Yes, correct. If your level of significance, you wanted to reduce it further. For example, with a sample size of 15, what is the confidence level I gain? 95%. Now, instead of taking 15 sample, you take only 5 sample. Right? Now, what will happen? You will not be able to, reject your null. You will not be able to reject your null. That will happen automatically, because otherwise your p-value cannot go below 5%. So p-value is not going below 5% means these factors, some of the factor is not allowing you. These are the factors here. See here, the n. Maybe you increase the n. That means increase the number of samples, and that will help you to gain the confidence level. But these are all connected. What you need to understand is, if you want to fix any one, then you can, if you want to, let us say, understand the sample size n, then you need to fix the remaining 3. Do you understand? What is the appropriate sample size I can go for my study? That depends on, first of all, the difference I need to validate. This is already known, am I correct? The difference you need to validate. Let us say you developed a new system that increases the hardness of the material by, let us say 2 units. So what is the difference in the hardness? 2 units. And you wanted to prove it. This is 2 units. Some hardness unit, maybe some number. And now, what is the confidence level you want to achieve? What is the power of test you want to achieve? Let's say I want to achieve 95% confidence level. I want to achieve 95% power of test also. Now the sample size can be fixed. Obviously, this will be maybe a higher sample size. Why it is higher? Because you are targeting higher confidence level and you are trying to prove a smaller difference, just 2 units or 0.2 units, and then the sample size will increase. So whether your sample size increases or decreases, depending on the other factor, you get an idea. But there are formulas connecting all the 4 templates will be given. You can feed and then those templates can get you the sample size value. So that's it from my side. If there are any questions,